All right, let's take a look at first period stats. Lawrenceville shot just 30% on 3 of 10. Flanagan was 4 of 7, 57% shooting. Lawrenceville no free throws. The Falcons made both of theirs. Rebounds 6-4 to Flanagan. Turnovers. Flanagan 3 and Lawrenceville 2. The blocking foul was called against Shireen. At the line, Leafy shooting 2. Lawrenceville has not been a good free throw shooting team in this tournament, Keith. In fact, this afternoon, they were just 12 of 24 against Savannah.
It was almost their undoing this afternoon.
Leafy with one more throw. Got it.
Art, they shot 63% on free throwing for the entire season.
Which isn't too bad, really. Coaches like 70, but anything close to 65 isn't too bad. But they've been cold at the line in tournament play. 12-9, Flanagan by 3. Shireen well out on the floor.
Now we see a Lawrenceville zone defense.
Looks like almost a 3-2. Here's Gundy. To Braxic. Big guy turns off the glass in. Braxic has a magnificent touch.
I think Braxic would welcome that 3-2 zone.
14-9 Flanagan by 5. Not quite to the midway mark in the game's second quarter. Marty Simmons from the corner. Misses it. Rebound Shireen. Shireen and Leasey in a great battle for the basketball, and Shireen for Flanagan comes down. Leasey intercepts. Intercepts the outlet pass. Here's Ernie Ho reversing. Ernie Ho with a spectacular reverse layup, and it's 14-11. Flanagan lead cut to 3.
He deserved that basket because he set it up defensively.
Flanagan really putting the pressure on now. I should say Lawrenceville. Kind of three-quarter court type of press at the moment. On the drive, Reese. Scott Reese got it. 16-11. Flanagan by 5. As the Indians trying to get over that 5-point hump, and thus far Flanagan's been able to respond to the heat. Shot by Ho misfired. Rebound on the floor, scooped out of there by Jeff Gear. Lawrenceville with the basketball. They look in the right corner to Marty Simmons. Simmons checked off in that portion of a 2-3 zone by Dan Perry of Flanagan. Inside to Bill Anthony. Anthony finds himself double-teamed. The 7-footer Braxic behind him. Reese in front of him. Off to Ho from Gear. Inside to Simmons. Tries to take it inside on Braxic. He shoots. He got it. Basket's going to count. Foul on Braxic. Marty Simmons with a super power move to the inside.
In spite of those 5 men playing defense inside the paint, look at Marty Simmons go to the basket.
And the foul was called on Gundy. 14, not Braxic.
Well, I'm sure that makes Jerry Poole happy. The Flanagan coach, his big guy, got in foul trouble this afternoon. Desperate foul trouble against McLeansboro.
That was an interesting picture to see all 5 defensive men inside the blue painted area.
Marty Simmons completes the 3-point play. Simmons with 9 thus far. 16-14. Flanagan by 2 over uncharging Lawrenceville. Matt Shireen dribbling left against Ernie Ho. Braxic is posting high. Here's Shireen. Shireen doesn't quite to the baseline, as you know. Comes out to Perry. Bounce pass inside to Scott Reese. Now back out front. Controlling is Perry. Perry looks to go to the baseline. Double team on Braxic. Simmons behind him, and then Ho will help out, or Gear will sag back in front. Now Braxic, when he goes high, of course, doesn't get that double team pressure. That's Shireen to Reese. Reese makes the save. Far sideline. Shireen into Braxic. He turns. He shoots in and out. Rolled out on him. The rebound, Jeff Gear.
He missed it, but he's still a tower of power in there. He's really strong. He's a big factor in the game.
2:38 to play in the first half. Flanagan by 2 over Lawrenceville, the defending state champion. Trying to be the first ball club to ever win it back-to-back, undefeated both times around. And the first state title game ever, matching 2 undefeated basketball teams. Simmons on the iron, no good. Tipped by Leasey, followed by Simmons, blocked by Braxic. Tipped up in the glass by Braxic. Retrieved in the corner by Reese. Great save. Great save. Swats it back into Matt Shireen. Flanagan still leads it by a pair, 16-14. 2:05 for the half. Here's Shireen. Picked off by Simmons. They lob to Braxic. Simmons back on Braxic. Braxic nails it. Soft turnaround, right-handed push. 18-14 Flanagan.
Had no trouble going over Marty Simmons. About a 7-inch difference in their size.
Now Simmons working on Braxic. Leans in, scores. Basket's going to be good, and the foul on Braxic, and Jerry Poole is irate. Poole wanted the call the other way. See what you think here, Keith.
Okay, the ball inside again. He may have called it with the body because the arms look clear, Art.
Marty Simmons, the one-man scoring gang in this state this year, now has dumped in 7 in this quarter, 11 for the ball game, trying to complete a three-point play that will pull Lawrenceville within a point. Free throw is good. It's 18-17. Flanagan has led throughout. And we have a timeout here at the Assembly Hall with 1:47 to go in the half. What a defensive struggle, Keith Baldwin. I think Big D is certainly the story so far tonight.
It certainly is. And, you know, Marty Simmons having to be responsible for Bill Braxic on the other end. When you have to concentrate that much defensively, it can't help but take something away from your offense.
And yet he still is scoring in a low-scoring ball game. Simmons, as we mentioned, with a total of 12 points thus far out of his team's 17.
And go ahead. Once again, the one-year scoring record in Illinois, 1 year by one player, the late Mike Duff, 1097. Simmons had 1067 coming into this game. He needs 31 tonight to break the one-year scoring record in Illinois. He has 12.
Did you know, Art, only 10 people have ever scored 1,000 points in 1 year. 8 of them boys, 2 of them girls.
All right, Shireen's pass is intercepted. Lisi picks it off, and here is Lawrenceville down quickly. Marty Simmons holding. Simmons to Bill Anthony to Jeff Gear. Lawrenceville with a chance to take its first lead in the ball game, I believe. I don't think they were even up 2-0. They have been down throughout. Here is Anthony. To Gear to Anthony. Look at the pressure on Simmons. Shireen sliding in front of him. Braxic behind him. Simmons now swinging to the high post, left side of the lane. Here's a drive by Ho, pulls it up. Braxic deflects it. Batted way, way out front, and Gear scrambles with the timeline. Leaps high in the air, slots it back in. Ball knocked out of bounds by Matt Shireen. Shireen was there, so was Marty Simmons. Suddenly we had a volleyball game for a moment or two. Play to be made in by Jeff Gear. Under a minute, 52 seconds to play in the first half. Battle for the state Class A championship in Illinois. Art Kimball, Frank Tassoni, and Watsika basketball coach Keith Baldwin. Follow the action from the Assembly Hall before a huge crowd tonight. Hope you're enjoying it. Gear low. To Simmons. Malaysia. And the foul goes to Scott Reese of Flanagan. First foul on Reese.
There are going to be a lot of decisions to be made in this ball game, as close as these people are to one another. That foul went against Flanagan. Marty Simmons to the line.
Flanagan now has 5 fouls, so that means it's a 1-1 situation. Boy, when the bonus goes into effect in a ball game, can be vitally important, particularly in an airtight game. Note Marty Simmons, free throw for him. He will now take the bonus. 13-point performance for Simmons thus far. 18-18. Simmons can give Lawrenceville the lead right here. Headed for Indiana University. 6'5", 215-pound senior. Second one is up and off. It's an 18-18 ball game. We have a jump ball as Brian Gundy was tied up by Jeff Gear. Marty Simmons had a chance to give Lawrenceville his first lead. Free throw caromed away. But then Gear tied up Brian Gundy. And Flanagan, despite the height differential there in favor of Gear, got the basketball, and Jerry Poole wants him to play for one shot. Matt Shireen well out on the floor. Driving against Ernie Ho. Shireen to Gundy. Braxic left side of the lane. He's the tower on the left side of the lane. They're kind of overplaying him. Simmons behind him. Down to 12 seconds. Here is Gundy. Gundy looking. Gear playing great defense. Well out to Braxic on the floor with 7 seconds. With 5 to Shireen. Shireen pulls it up with 2 seconds. Rebound Perry, and she's going to stay tied at halftime. Well, what a great half of basketball we've had in this battle for the Class A state championship. It's a pick-em contest right now for sure. At the halftime break, Flanagan 18 and Lawrenceville 18. 18-18 at halftime. Here's your individual scoring. First for Flanagan, Bill Braxic leading the way with 10. Matt Shireen and Scott Reese with 4 apiece. And Brian Gundy hasn't scored, has picked up a couple of fouls. That's the 18-point total for the Flanagan Falcons. For Lawrenceville's defending state champions, Marty Simmons with 13. 2 for Ernie Ho and Bill Anthony. 1 for Tim Lisi. No one, as you can see, in foul trouble. Now team statistics. Lawrenceville from the field, 7 of 24. Flanagan, 8 of 16. Lawrenceville getting the more shots. Flanagan with a 50% mark, 29% for Lawrenceville, but it's really somewhat academic. They're tied at halftime. Free throws, 4 of 6 for Lawrenceville, 2 of 2 for Flanagan. Rebounding, this is a pivotal figure, I think, Keith. 14 for Flanagan, 12 for Lawrenceville, almost dead even. Turnovers, Flanagan was 5. They only officially list Lawrenceville with 2, but we were talking about that, and we'll have to go with that, but it seems like the Indians have perhaps turned it over a bit more than that. So here it is, 18-18 at halftime. Let's get to Frank Massoni. Frank, you have the all-tournament team, and let's pass that information along.
Be glad to, Art. Thank you. And the all-tournament team in the first instance, Associated Press selection, the first team, Marty Simmons of Lawrenceville and Bill Braxick of Flanagan, Brian Sloan of McLeansboro, Trevor Trempe of Havana, and Mike Deemer of Freeport-Aquin. That's the first team, Associated Press. Second team, Kurt Reed, McLeansboro, Lowell Hamilton, Chicago, Providence, St. Mel. Brian Gundy of Flanagan made the second team. Michael Parker of St. Mel, Tom Church, Pistolwa. Now you go down to United Press International. I'll do it quickly. The unanimous choices, Marty Simmons, Bill Braxick, Brian Sloan, and Trevor Trempe once again. On the first team this time, though, Lowell Hamilton from Providence, St. Mel. On the second team, Kurt Reed, McLeansboro, Mike Deemer, Aquin, Kevin King of Havana, Michael Parker, St. Mel, and Matthew Shireen of Flanagan.
And we'll review that again before we sign things off. 18-18 as we're set to go with the second half of this battle for the state Class A championship. Third place this evening went to McLeansboro over Havana, 58-52. Another fine ball game. But this one, Keith Baldwin, has been even Steven. 6-point lead a couple of times for Flanagan early. I think they even had it out to 8 on one occasion, but Lawrenceville came clawing back, and there's very little to choose right now.
I think one reason for the low score, of course, one thing is the poor shooting percentage of Lawrenceville, but the other is that tightly packed zone defense of Flanagan. Lawrenceville's having to pass the ball so many times to get it to Marty Simmons because Gear and Ho refuse to take that wide-open 15-footer from out front.
See if we have any major strategy changes in the second half of it. We're set to go. Flanagan in white, moving to your right. And to your left is Lawrenceville, and the Indians have the opening jump of the second half. Bill Anthony has hustled and got position. Here is Ho. Ho to Gear. Gear, Anthony, Simmons, Leachy, and Ho, the combination that has gone the distance so far for Ron Felling's Lawrenceville Ball Club tonight. They're shooting for an incredible 68 straight victory. They've won 67 in a row. Of course, that is the new state record. They cracked it at 65, tied the Quincy mark at 64, then cracked it in the Super Sectional at Charleston, which is only Tuesday night. Seems like weeks ago now. There's been so much happened since then. Here is Jeff Gear well out on the floor. No shots taken to Jeff at the start of the second half. Gear to Leachy. Simmons is in behind Bill Braxick. You can hardly see Simmons. Leachy. Lawrenceville very, very patiently finding that defense, getting stickier and stickier. It's packed inside. On the perimeter, Gear's shot misses and Braxick rebounds. That's exactly what Flanagan wants to force Lawrenceville to do. They want to, I think probably Jerry Poole figures if Ron Felling's going to beat him, he's going to have to do it on the perimeter. Here's a pass intercepted by Simmons. And, of course, here's a man capable of winning a ball game inside or outside for you. Simmons to the free throw line. Right side to Ho. Right corner. Back down Leachy to Simmons. 4-2. Marty Simmons now with 15 points.
He went right into the heart of that zone defense that time.
20-18. Lawrenceville by 2. Brian Gundy for the Falcons. Working on Jeff Gear. 2 fine defensive ball players squaring off. Matt Shireen, his ball club down 2. Right corner to Gundy. Back to Shireen. Lob into Braxick. Braxick is double teamed, and the foul is going to go on Jeff Gear. Foul number 2 on Gear. They're trying to pitch a hit around Braxick. That's the first time Lawrenceville has had the lead in the ball game. 20-18. It was on the shot by Simmons. You may recall Simmons tied it with the lead into a 1-and-1 free throw. That was Ron Felling you saw on the screen with a few words of instruction. It's been a tough tournament for all the coaches here. Jumper Shireen misfires. Gear with a rebound. Little guard crashes the defensive board. Marty Simmons down the sideline. Working inside. Comes cross court to Ernie Ho. To Simmons. Ho has a screen for him, but sliding through the screen quickly was Scott Reese. Defensively, inside to Simmons. Ducks around Braxick and lost the ball out of bounds. Marty Simmons tried to force a move inside. Third turnover officially charged to Lawrenceville. We have them with 6. Officially, they have 3. Flanagan has the basketball. Feed off to Bill Braxic. Braxic down to Gundy. Gundy back out to Matt Shireen. 20-18. Lawrenceville by 2. Third period of the battle for the state Class A championship. The lob to Braxic. Braxic on the baseline. Turns, shoots. He got it. Basket counts. Foul on Gear. Hyde once again.
Hey, watch Bill Braxic as he gets that pass inside. Turns, faces up against the basket. Goes up very nicely for the basket. Going for a three-pointer.
20-20 with 5:29 to play. Third quarter. Bill Braxic at the line. Braxic with 12 points out of his club's 20. The 7-footer nails the free throw. Three-point play by Braxic. Flanagan goes back into the lead by 1, 21-20. It was 18-18 at halftime. 10-6 Flanagan at the quarter. Ernie Ho for Lawrenceville. A nail-biter developing here in the Assembly Hall. Ho at long range. Rebound, Bill Braxic. Braxic off to Matt Shireen. Coming up behind Shireen was Lacey, but Shireen heard him coming, lowered the dribble. Now Matt Shireen inside the free throw line. Won't go. Braxic with the rebound. The big guy powers up and scores. Bill Braxic rolls it home on the inside. 23-20 Flanagan.
Right over the top of Marty Simmons.
Lawrenceville, defending state kingpins, been ranked number 1 all year. Flanagan was ranked number 2. Here's Lacey in the paint for the short jumper. Lacey's first field goal, 23-22. We're going to say Flanagan was number 2. Then they were supplanted by Providence St. Mel in that slot. St. Mel lost to Lawrenceville by 2 here in the quarterfinals. 56-54. Flanagan dropped back to 3. So you have the 1 and 3 teams in the final poll playing for the title. Braxic turnaround effort misfires. Marty Simmons with a key rebound. Simmons brings it across. 23-22 Flanagan. Not quite to the halfway point in the game's third quarter. Ernie Ho holding to Jeff Gear. Back to Ho. Left corner of Bill Anthony. Back to Ho. Ho cut off by Gundy and Shireen. To Gear. As Flanagan really compacts that zone defense, Steve. They really have a attempt pitched around Marty Simmons down low.
And they still refuse to take the shot from out front.
Here's Gear. Gear backpedals. Maintains the dribble. Flanagan, you can see the sag on Marty Simmons. Simmons number 50 in red. Now he rolls baseline right, trying to get out of the traffic. They're not going to get the ball to him inside with Braxic in front of him or beside him. And here is Simmons tripped up as he tried to fight his way through the zone. He goes to the floor. No whistle. Looks a little bit disgustedly over at the bench and at the officials. Jumper by Ho. Finally, out of a very, very patient and admittedly somewhat frustrating effort to get the ball inside for Lawrenceville, Ho put it down on the perimeter, and the Indians lead by 1, 24-23. Flanagan back with the basketball. 3:07 for the third quarter. Gundy to Reese. Shot up and off, no good, and a foul on Lacey. Foul number 1 on Tim Lacey. Scott Reese will be shooting a pair.
Okay, isolated over here on the weak side is Reese. Nice bounce pass to him, and he powers into the basket. He doesn't get it, but he will go to the line for 2.
Don't both these teams help on the ball on defense so naturally and so well?
They really do. And, of course, they both have to, Frank, because of the nature of guys like Braxic and Simmons. You just can't take them one-on-one, not at this level. 24-24. Scott Reese can give Flanagan the lead. He does. The Falcons, a high school of 132 enrollment, nudged on top at 25-24. Flanagan won the 1A football championship in 1974 with Bill Braxic's younger brother Jim at quarterback and several older brothers from other members of the squad also on that football team. Ernie Ho for Lawrenceville. Ho to the baseline. Over Braxic. Braxic got a piece of the basketball. Bill Anthony, though, out of traffic, pokes it up and in.
Big play by Bill Anthony on that deflected shot.
26-25. Lawrenceville by a point. Dan Perry loses and then fouls. Retaliation foul on Perry. Gear stole it. And then Dan Perry fouled him, but that's the first foul on Flanagan in the third quarter.
The quick hands of Jeff Gear.
we have a timeout. 2.5 to go for the third quarter. Lawrenceville by 1, 26-20.
First time two undefeated teams have ever met in the championship game here at the Assembly Hall, and we hope you enjoy our coverage and our games. Hope you enjoy Illinois high school basketball. If you have comments, write us. High school basketball, Box 678, Bloomington, Illinois, 61701. Box 678, Bloomington, 61701.
26-25 Lawrenceville. Over Flanagan. The Indians with the basketball. Jeff Gear to Ernie Ho. Ron Selling up, directing traffic in front of the Indian bench. Bounce pass to Simmons. Marty holding high left corner. You can see the pressure on Simmons. Every time he gets the ball, he has 15 points. Only one bucket in this quarter. Ernie Ho. So Ernie Ho with a couple of pull-up jumpers.
Very important baskets. That'll have to loosen up that defense a little bit.
28-25, Lawrenceville by 3. Here's Brian Gundy out front for Flanagan. That's the biggest lead, certainly, that Lawrenceville has had. 8-point margin, the biggest lead in the fairly early going for Flanagan. Braxnick, his ball club down 3. Eyes the bucket. The 7-footer launches it. Little short. Serene follows. Got it. Was fouled. And this in the ball game, Dave Parker, this came in for Lawrenceville, picked up the foul as Matt Shireen, not exactly a spectacular rebound, Keith. He scraped it off the floor, fouled, and got it through.
You'll see an example of being in the right place at the right time. On the floor, it bounced. Matt Shireen picked it up. Now he's at the line